Welcome back to the Uplink, the only place on the internet where you can find out about all the latest gaming news going on across the industry. And boy, do we have some news for you today. I am your host, Andrew Hamilton, joined again by my co-host.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. That's his name. Let's do it, Ogletree.
Disavow the creator of that game. Anyway.
But there's a lot going on. We took a break last week so that we could make sure that we were here to cover what happened at day of filming, the PlayStation Showcase. But at Friday will be a 2-day-old story. But you still want our take on everything, so.
Want my take right away?
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, it was good. I had a good time. We'll get to it, though.
Yeah.
First up, let's talk about some news. Some headlines across the gaming industry. We're going to briefly go through these because there's a ton of stuff to talk about announcement-wise, and I want to get to the fun part of this conversation before we have to deal with any of the sad,
the suck,
the awful corporate side of things. But we'll start with some good news. Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom came out a few weeks ago. I've lost track of time.
About a week ago, actually.
Was it? It was the 12th.
Okay, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago. And already within the first 2 days is one of the best-selling games of the year. It is the fastest-selling title in the franchise with 10 million copies sold in 2 days. Now, to put that into perspective, the best-selling game to date up until its last-gen release this last month was Hogwarts Legacy. Take a guess at how many copies for the year it had sold at that point.
I think it's somewhere around like 15 million, right?
It was about 13.5 million.
Yeah.
So that was over the course of its first 2 weeks that we know of. 2 days. Tears of the Kingdom almost caught up to it in its entirety. And that is unsurprising. Despite the numerous technical problems with the Pokemon games that came out last year, they were still the best-selling console exclusive ever for the Switch. Our fastest-selling console exclusive for the Switch, and the best-selling console exclusive of that year with 22 million copies sold in 2 weeks. Pretty impressive that Nintendo's name and its brands are just so synonymous with quality that even when there's not quality there, they still get a W on there, you know?
Well, it's very funny when all these other companies, like we've talked about incessantly, are just fighting over like content and brand exclusivity, and Nintendo is like, here's your fighting monsters, and like they sell millions and millions of
They're
copies.
like, remember Zelda? We
remember?
We put some Flex Seal in it, and now it's a different game.
Remember? I remember WD-40. It doesn't creak anymore.
Yeah, what's great is, and we'll talk about it more this weekend and next week whenever we get our Tears of the Kingdom review and Weekend Warrior with our friend Christian Sellers done and out. But legitimately, this game is just, they've taken Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts, a failed concept that no one liked, and the Flex Seal family of products, and just smashed them together and somehow made a physics-based invention engine that just works. It's a marvel of programming. It is a testament to giving your team enough time and polish. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom team is the same team that's been working on The Legend of Zelda the entire time.
Right.
That is so rare in this industry. I cannot stress enough how much of your childhood games no longer have any of the people involved in them that created them.
Well, they're probably dead.
Well, there's a lot of that, but also there's just in general, like these teams don't stick together this long because burnout happens. They get, successful franchises, especially from U.S. companies, get ground into the floor by
or they
corporate
just get
want.
Famous enough, like creative directors and so on, or people a little bit lower than them get famous enough or get enough attention that they go move on to their own project.
And a lot of times it's a lot of that too. We've seen a lot of that from EA personnel in particular, ex-DICE employees going on to form several new studios. New studio just formed this last week. Time to Kill Studio is headed up by a previous creative director from DICE and a bunch of EA shooter veterans. Cool. I mean, that happens, but it is so important that we praise Nintendo for this one aspect in particular, because giving your team time, make sure that they have a quality work-life balance, and making sure that you invest in the people, not just the IP, it's just rare. It doesn't happen hardly ever in this industry.
And it's also a testament of sticking and keeping IP fresh. Looking at you, Fast and Furious franchise.
Get out of here.
Anyway, the most interesting thing about Tears of the Kingdom is that people are just using it to be a Roblox mod now.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. I built a napalm jet in there. I've seen people
stealth
build
bomber,
ATSTs. We're going to be trying to build some real goofy stuff this weekend. So
somebody crucified something.
Yeah, the Procession of Christ with the Korok. It's all good, wholesome, quality fun.
Very fun. Very fun.
It's what Nintendo envisioned when they made Tears of the Kingdom.
As my wife called it, the Macarena of time.
That made me burst out laughing whenever you said it.
It's very funny.
It was so funny.
You couldn't make it up because she was so genuine. She was just like, what's that Zelda game called when we were kids?
What my mom would call it.
The Macarena of time.
You remember the Macarena of time?
Whatever, I'm not a nerd. I don't even play it. Okay, it's just only the best reviewed game ever.
Yeah, it's
anyway,
great.
Continue.
But yeah, so keep an eye out for our review and our Weekend Warrior. Those will be coming up soon. Tears of the Kingdom off to a great start. Congratulations, Nintendo's Zelda team. I guess also congratulations to Microsoft on the EU giving them a big old thumbs up on their Activision-Blizzard purchase. Now, here's where this gets weird, because I don't actually know anything about what happens if one of the major regulatory bodies says no and everyone else says yes.
Yeah.
I think that one no still outweighs any yeses that come down the line, or at least it makes it significantly more difficult. Funny enough, the CMA, said that they, which is the UK's regulatory committee, put out their thing a couple weeks ago and said that they were against it because of many factors, but cloud gaming and exclusivity being factors, but also Microsoft maybe flat out lying to investors that they were going to be able to bring certain things to certain consoles, looking at you, Nintendo, that just were not technically possible. Like that they were saying they could bring Call of Duty at full form with no limitations to Nintendo, and that's just not possible. Call of Duty games are 158 gigs. That's more that comes on any Switch. So, no way.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that they were like, hey, we respect the EU's decision, but we still stand by our decision. And Microsoft was like, I mean, maybe the UK is not open for business. Maybe we don't sell games there anymore. Maybe, and it's like, oh yeah? Because I checked the charts, and the UK is your second biggest contributor to Xbox game sales behind the US. You gonna just not sell there anymore? I don't think so. You can bluff all you want, Microsoft, but I see you. I see you, Phil.
Although
you stop lying.
Although DeSantis played chicken with a major corporation, and that didn't really work out for him that well. So.
I mean, by all means, let's get
nuts.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
No, let's get nuts.
Flash looks good.
It does. It looks interesting.
I hope it's good, but also I'm surprised if it is.
Yeah, exactly. Mostly because they have a criminal running around in them. But allegedly, the thing with this is you hit the nail on the head, and I'm sick of talking about it. I just don't know. And I don't think a lot of people know.
No.
A lot of writers or anything know what happens.
I don't think Microsoft knows what's going to happen next.
They do.
They're just I think if we just keep pretending like we've heard only yeses, maybe they will just let this happen.
Let it go. And
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't know. It may be. It may come down to we'll keep fighting it in court. Meanwhile, we'll act like the purchase happened in Europe.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
Well, and China also approved it this week, which is unsurprising. But that's because the Chinese games market is very limited. But we'll have more details on all that once it gets more clear of what's going on. I'm not going to update you guys every time there's a regulatory body that approves it, because we've already had Saudi Arabia and all these other places approve it. You don't care. I'll let you know whenever there's something major going on. But speaking of Activision-Blizzard, let's talk about a failure on their part. And we're going to do this one really quick because it's disappointing, and I don't want to give them too much airtime. But Overwatch 2, the purpose of which was to launch with a new co-op focused campaign and reinvigorate the Overwatch franchise by taking it free to play, has now dropped the thing that they said was the reason that they decided to move on from Overwatch 1. For 3 years, they did not provide new content for Overwatch 1. Then they announced Overwatch 2 and this co-op mode, and now they've said, oops, we canceled it. So people aren't happy about that. The mismanagement of this IP has been astounding to watch. From the
Also,
garbage...
Just considering, sorry, but like just considering the user base.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, I mean... It's
We're
crazy.
just going to start playing Overwatch 1 again. What are we doing?
Yeah, well, that's why they discontinued it. They took it offline completely. You can only play Overwatch 2. They forced them together.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that was a thing.
And so everyone's like, "What? Okay, so I paid money for Overwatch 1, and I don't have to pay for Overwatch 2, which is nice. But also, it's kind of just Overwatch 1, but you took some stuff out and you changed the balance of stuff, and I don't like the balance that you made. But then you were like,
we can't go back to playing what we like.
So you can't go back to what you like, and even though you paid for it, and you can't.
Is there a disc?
There was a disc, yeah.
Yeah. So they can still kind of.
You can load it up. It won't launch. There's no servers. It's an
right.
online-only game. So, and it will just make you launch Overwatch 2 if you try to launch it off the disc.
Very fun and good.
Yeah, so super cool. It's that thing we all love that these digital companies are doing where they go, I know you paid for that, but is it really yours? I mean, what if I just disappeared it? Maybe I do a magic trick and go, where to go?
Looking at you, HBO Max. Sorry, Mac. No,
HBO Max.
Now, no.
Is it plus?
Mac plus?
Plus?
We're not going to finish that
TV?
joke. The disappearing of content by major corporations is actually very concerning, not just in video games, but in your streaming platforms. It's less so because you can kind of find it in streaming. The video game thing is concerning because it's like, hey man, I just paid. Yeah,
I paid $60, and I get that at launch versus now. Like, if you were to try to go buy Overwatch 1 before Overwatch 2 launched, it was like $20. Yeah. And I get that depreciation happens to any game. But dude, when I pay $60, I expect to be able to play that forever.
Right.
And I understand sunsetting servers eventually. You have to move on from old stuff eventually. That's fine, but the base game should still be playable offline.
The amount of people were in this thing that we're about to talk about next about EA, NCAA football, when they sunset the 2014 NCAA servers, the riot that is going to happen if the new game is not good.
Oh man.
Ooh, brother.
Yeah. Well, so speaking of that, let's just go ahead and move on to that. The EA has finalized its deal with the NCAA to pay players for their likenesses, which means that the game can proceed in its development. We don't know anything about how early into development it is. This is literally the first news we've had since they announced that it was going to happen. So yeah, when they do eventually sunset those servers, probably 2025, hopefully their new game is A, ready, and B, good. Otherwise, it will be a problem. And EA, you wouldn't want to make a problem, would you?
You wouldn't want to make a bad football game.
You've never made a bad football game. Hey EA.
Both in soccer
and... You've never made a bad game, right?
Yeah, both in soccer and in football.
You've never rushed to release a game that then was so broken it was nearly unplayable and then expected people to still pay and then continue to play for another 3 years for it to be playable again. You wouldn't do that, right, EA? EA.
No.
Nope, can't do that.
Look, EA has been kind to us, but the Star Wars division of EA has been kind to us in allowing us access to some of their games. But like the EA Sports division, I'm just gonna say, it has been crap for a long time. I don't know, since like what, FIFA 14 or something like that?
Well, since they moved to the Frostbite engine, there's been problems, and that was 2015, I want to say.
Yeah. So look, you hadn't put out a really successful is the wrong word. You hadn't put out a critically successful product in a long time. The games are broken. They're buggy. The pay to play model for the Ultimate Foot team and Ultimate Team in Madden is garbage. The dynasty modes are always light and not worked on, and copies and shelves of the former games. You can score a touchdown from like 100 yards out by like literally like jumping over the entire team and landing in the other end zone sometimes because of glitches and stuff like that. You glitch through people. The tackling mechanics aren't. All of that
stuff.
You just have to get this right. I'm telling you right now, it will be the best selling. It may not even matter. It will be the best. It will be the best
selling. It's the only one on the market.
It will be the best selling game of that summer whenever you release it.
Yeah.
And
just do yourself a favor and find a better engine.
Yeah, find a better engine. And look, they have since come out and said that they're wholly focusing on making Dynasty mode the main attraction of the NCAA football game, which is what people come to play anyway.
Right.
Online Dynasty specifically for a lot of people, that was a great feature that they added later in the life of the franchise. But it just has to be in depth and good. And the NIL thing is going to be interesting to see. And I know I'm going long on this. They put out that they will allow everyone to opt in to being in the game, but then basically we're like, you can opt in, but we may not scan everybody's face.
Yeah, you may not have to, and it's going to come down to development time. There's a lot of players, a lot of teams.
Yeah.
And unlike
120 FPS teams.
Yeah, and unlike with Madden, where you have readily available access to 3D models and stuff because there's already scans that are done. They do 3D stuff all the time for NFL players. You don't get quite that much funding, and these are students technically. You know, they're busy, and then they got practice. You can't pull someone aside for a 23-hour-long day to wait their turn to get scanned in. I mean, a lot of it's going to be photo scanned. So we'll see how that goes. But we got to move on to our main attractions here, starting with.
Real quick. No way they're getting that much money at all from.
No way.
No way.
And I wonder what it'll be interesting because we haven't really seen many of these contracts pulled up. I will be interested to see what the contract for this
because it'll
looks
get
like.
leaked. They'll probably have to sign an NDA, but it'll get leaked.
Well, and I'm sure that there's some transparency required for this stuff, so I'm sure we'll get base level details, but yeah, eventually we'll get leaked. But we got to move on to our main thing, which is, before we get to the main thing, there's one other main thing. Mortal Kombat is back. And if you're confused by the fact that this game is called Mortal Kombat 1, but is a follow-up to Mortal Kombat 11, let me tell you, you should be.
I was like, wait.
So let me do the brief explainer here about what's happened here.
I don't care.
Mortal Kombat 9 was a reboot of the Mortal Kombat franchise, but it was just called Mortal Kombat at the time and has since been relabeled MK9 by fans. Then we got MKX, which was Mortal Kombat 10, which continued that story. And then Mortal Kombat 11, which it was the last one that came out, and then we got Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath, which was the post-launch DLC that included this story that saw Shang Tsung and Liu Kang fighting for the crown of time or whatever nonsense it was. Basically, in one of the two endings that you can get, Liu Kang becomes imbued with Raiden's god powers and is now the god of the universe, which is why we see Liu Kang with the glowing tattoos and god powers, and Raiden just is a dude now. So it is a reboot. This is like Mortal Kombat 11 or Mortal Kombat 1.3. This is the third reboot. So, I'm sorry, did you black out?
Oh, I forgot to breathe.
Oh, yeah. So that's where we're at.
I think I got a stroke.
What's interesting here is, and we don't know anything about gameplay, we just have vague details, is, for one, the fact that this is a reboot. I wasn't really sure if they were going to actually continue that storyline. I know a lot of people don't look at the story of fighting games, but Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter both have fairly okay stories. Mortal Kombat more than Street Fighter. It's not like Tekken where you could just like toss any characters in there and then press a button and it'll work out a ChatGPT installed story. But you know, Mortal Kombat normally does pay attention to its characters' roles and stuff, which is why some characters are absent in some games and present later. So this will be interesting. We've only seen 6 characters revealed so far, but we do know from both the announcement for the game and leaks that have happened since then that there is a new system called cameo combat, which appears to be an assist system of some kind that lets you call on a second character. Some of those characters sound like they may not be fully playable characters, will exist only as cameos. I'm thinking that means we'll probably won't see Reptile again or anything like that, but we will probably see him as a cameo. Jean-Claude Van Damme's in this game.
Hell yeah.
As a DLC skin for Johnny Cage, that's fine.
No, that makes a lot of sense. That's very funny.
And then
Super meta. Way to go.
we'll get a full gameplay reveal for this game on June 11th at the Summer Game Fest. It'll be a whole 20 minutes or whatever of gameplay.
You want my analysis?
Yeah.
The cinematic trailer looks sick.
Yeah, it was sick as hell, dude.
Sick.
The fire dragon.
Well, just like splitting people in half.
Yeah,
and
dude,
everything.
it's gory
like everything
as hell.
that I wanted in Mortal Kombat.
I can't put it on screen, but you have to believe me. It's gory as hell.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, this is restoring the feeling.
It's what I came for. I was worried that they maybe weren't going to give us anything, but it's what I came for. And I love this idea of that no matter what, because the end of that last game was that Liu Kang made a world that was supposed to be completely at peace without Shang Tsung even in it. Like, he erased him from history. And yet he's in this game. So I like this idea that there is no escaping Mortal Kombat. It happens every time. Which,
they're in
massive
hell.
Miss on this one. This is my one gripe with the trailer.
Okay.
There's a part where he goes, but one thing is always true. And then he goes, it's having something worth fighting for. I was like, no, come on. It should be one thing is always true. Mortal Kombat! Massive miss. Ed Boon, fix it. Release a different cut. Just
They're like, wait, no, it has
produce a different cut.
Yeah.
There's not one like that. I'm very excited for this. Obviously, I'm a massive fighting game fan. We do also know from a leak, and these are unverified, so don't quote us on this, but a leak from Amazon Italy's listing for the premium version of the game of some of the DLC characters, including Homelander from The Boys. Omni-Man from Invincible, and I completely forgot what the third one was. It was also another superhero-esque character.
Was it Invincible?
No. Dang it. Hold on. MK1 DLC characters.
Install the monkey banging the symbols together right here.
Peacemaker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
Peacemaker. So once again, tapping into the multiple IP things, it is kind of weird to do Homelander and Omni-Man since they are so similar as far as power sets go.
Omni-Man solos, 1v1.
For sure, dude. For sure, Omni-Man should not be defeatable. I mean,
No.
Homelander could die.
Yeah.
I don't care. But I think if you try to do a fatality on Omni-Man, your character should just die.
In the show, they're punching, they break their fist punching his chest.
Dude's strong enough to like punch missiles away, break their hands on Omni-Man. Anyway, so that's all unverified. And like I assume, similar to MK11 and 10, we will get a first year of DLC followed up by another 4 to 8 characters on a second year DLC. There's also allegedly 5 cameo characters that'll be included in that DLC pack. That's all fine. Got a pre-order to get Shang Tsung. We'll see the gameplay. Let's move on to the big event. Today, on Wednesday when we film this,
Mortal Kombat. Sorry, what?
we're moving on.
Oh, okay.
The PlayStation showcase happened. It's the first one since 2021, and it was kind of a banger, you guys. It was pretty good. Super weird pacing, though. A lot of strange.
I watched this on fast forward today during work, so.
I was like, okay, I guess we're just doing indie titles right now. And then suddenly it would be like, big title, and I'd be like, oh my God. And then it's like VR title for like the next 10 minutes. I'm like, wait, the pace is so like different all of a sudden.
That's what Nintendo Direct did too.
Yeah, you guys got to remember how to put a show together. I know it's been a second since we were putting shows together, but these online shows have really they're just like, just put them in any order and release them.
Here's a trailer for Forza, or not Forza, for,
Yeah,
hey.
So.
Wait, was it? No, it's not Forza. Was it? Yeah, it was Forza.
No, it was Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo.
Which I was
sorry.
kind of like, at first I was like, is this going to be Gran Turismo, the movie, the video game? Based
Oh,
on,
yeah.
I was like, oh no.
Bring back direct
Well, it's like
video game
when they did
tie-in.
Ratchet and Clank, the movie, they released a Ratchet and Clank game that was based on the movie.
That was
the
like the
movie
same
was
plot.
also based on the video game, so it was Ratchet and Clank, the movie, the video based on the video
Based on the
game,
previous
based on
video,
the movie,
yeah.
based on the video game.
Getting really meta.
Yeah. So I was concerned, but let's get into these. We started off the presentation with a fairly interesting new look at one of the more recent PlayStation acquisition studios, Haven Studios. It is a heist-style PvP multiplayer shooter game called Fair Games. Now, there was no gameplay shown. We only got a cinematic trailer. I will say, from the get-go on this PlayStation Showcase, multiplayer seems to have been the emphasis for a lot of this stuff.
Good, fun.
Which is fine in some regards. PlayStation has always lacked a strong multiplayer component. It's always had to rely on things like Call of Duty and Destiny to make up its main multiplayer components. They've never had, not since Killzone 3, I want to say, a solid multiplayer game that everyone was like, I'm buying a PlayStation to play that. Which I don't know if that's even possible to lock a multiplayer game to a console anymore. Even Halo could not pull that off a second time. Halo Infinite wasn't enough of a pull to drive people to it, and now it's dead.
You shouldn't just
Yeah,
like, I
I
mean,
thought there was gonna be
no,
more.
really, you shouldn't lock your if the goal is to get people to play your game,
Yeah.
stop locking it to a console.
And don't stop making multiplayer only stuff. It's for me, it is hard to justify the price of a $70 game if there's every chance that it might not succeed and you're going to shut the servers down. I can't do it, and you're not going to convince me it's worth doing by showing me cinematic trailers, which we got a lot of. So that was the first game out the gate, followed up by a very Starship Trooper inspired.
Starship Troopers.
Yeah, Helldivers, which was a third-person action shooter where you fight bug infestations.
Do you love America? Do you want to kill bugs?
Yeah, Ultra Earth or whatever
Yeah.
it was. Super Earth. Yeah, I mean, Helldivers was fun. Helldivers 2 looks like it's going to be a much more realistic, because the first one was a little more stylized.
Also looks like a 4-person co-op.
I think it's actually more than that. I think it's like 8.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay. Looked fun.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like fun. Helldivers was fun. It was a PlayStation Plus game back whenever it launched. I wonder if the same thing will happen here. I knew that they had bought the Helldivers studio, so I was...
Looks chaotic and also kind of winking and nodding at what you're doing. But
it's very Starship Trooper in a time when there's not really a lot of Starship Trooper stuff. So
bring it back.
Yeah, I mean, there's a Starship Trooper RTS in development, possibly releasing this year. Then we got to look at more Immortals of Avium at Atrium, Artemis Fowl. From EA Origins or EA Originals, from the team that previously worked on Call of Duty and Titanfall stuff. It looks cool. It's Magic Call of Duty. I'm excited to play it. It's a single player only thing, so I appreciate that they're trying to make single player first person shooters again.
I thought this was a Marvel game for a second.
Yeah, it could have totally been a Doctor Strange inspired Marvel game.
What was that bad Marvel movie that came out? Wasn't that the Immortals?
Oh, Eternals.
Eternals.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. Never mind. I thought it was a.
Yeah, that would be funny if they're trying to redeem it by making a video game.
Yeah. Anyway, it looked.
Yeah, I mean,
Magic spellcasting has been kind of in lately.
Yeah. And we've never really seen it done like this.
But it also looks like your Magic spellcasting is just a machine gun.
Right. I was just about to say. But at what point does the novelty of this wear off whenever you have to reload your magic with a clip? I just hope that there's an animation in there that sometimes you reload your arm for the magic. Go full Henry Cavill.
Ghost Runner 2.
Ghost Runner was a super cool action platformer first-person shooter game that came out for PC in 2018, 2019, and then came to PlayStation 4 and then PlayStation 5. So I don't know if this is going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive. I kind of doubt it, but these are pretty cool. And this one looks to be incorporating vehicle gameplay with like kind of a cool cybernetic motorcycle. I mean, look, who doesn't like swinging a katana and slicing dudes up? I mean, it's like the impetus for like most good video games, you know? Like,
it has inspired many a game.
Yeah.
Including the next
put
one.
a katana in a room with developers, they'll make something.
Not in the actual. Anyway, Phantom Blade. Is this just Ghost of Tsushima made by Capcom?
No. But also maybe. And also, I don't think it is Capcom, is it?
Not Capcom, but it looks like.
It's a Chinese developer, I believe. It's Chinese-inspired third-person action game. I do like that it's taken its, enemy-to-enemy combat in a Ghost of Tsushima kind of style. Looks like.
Well, the sword fighting looks nuts.
Yeah, it looks super fun. Probably the most impressive non-Sony IP that I saw there was this game. I like the boss fights that feel very Souls-esque, but are still keeping that style of combat. The world design looks super cool. Story sounds like it might not be.
I know it's not
more than generic.
I know it's not Capcom, but the characters look like that sort of Resident Evil.
Yeah, they've got the same kind of facial.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And hair and everything else.
Yeah.
So I was like, is this a Final Fantasy game?
It's very Asian development, is what it is,
yeah.
and which is fine. It looks cool, and I'm really excited about it. And then we got to look at New Giant Squid Game. That's the team that previously worked on games like Journey, award-winning games.
I thought you were just saying the game is called New Giant Squid Game.
No, that's the name of the developer.
That's also an
Giant
interesting.
Squid.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not New Giant Squid.
Yeah, no, it's
New
just
Giant
Squid.
City.
It's a new Giant Squid game. I should have put a comma,
Okay.
I guess.
Sword of the Sea.
Or you could be less stupid. Yeah, Sword of the Sea looks great. These games are always really like meditational and fun to, play for the amount of time that it's, it's not. They're never really long, but they're fun, really emotionally driven. Like they're narrative experiences, but they typically are dialogueless. I really like that they focus on the art style and the delivery with the music and motion more than anything else. And this looks to be in that same kind of vein. So
a lot of
I've loved most of
they
them.
reeled off a lot of like sort of indie-looking games.
Yeah, there were a lot of indie titles here, which I was, PlayStation has a good history of highlighting indie titles, but I feel like they're trying to play catch up to what Game Pass has done for indie games and what Nintendo does for indie games, and they're trying to prove that they also do that. But I think that this showcase was maybe the wrong place for some of these titles.
They're gonna get buried by a couple of things.
I mean, there's like, so going into the next thing, we got the Talos Principle, which is a follow-up to the Talos Principle from 2016. I want to say I'm definitely wrong, and if I am, don't you tell me.
Get in the comments.
No. I'm always wrong, guys.
Yeah, we're very wrong.
Like, dates are not my strong suit. I don't even know when I was born.
On this show. Mostly wrong.
We are, this is Uplink, a close approximation of knowledge. But it's a follow-up to a cult classic puzzle game. It looks like it's going to be even more mind-bending, but I guarantee you it gets buried under what is going to be the most memed game of this thing, which is Foam Star Party.
The horniest game you will ever see. Unbelievable.
What are you doing? What?
Look, we're like a PG show most of the time, PG-13. So I was like, can I watch this at my desk?
Yeah, and also, what?
Who cares?
Who's this for? Like, this looks like adult Splatoon.
Yeah, it's exactly what I thought of.
Why are we making this? What are you doing? Look, guys, I understand that there's a lot of multiplayer.
It's PlayStation Splatoon, right?
Well, it's not even PlayStation. This is a Square Enix game.
Oh.
Which is unsurprising, I guess. But
Yeah.
I'm also like, man, I don't know, like, I don't know how many times I have to say this on this show in particular, or just in general, or up on the top of a roof, somewhere
Yelling
in the
into
city,
the abyss.
screaming into the abyss of video game gods, but stop making hero shooters. I'm done with them. We're all done with them. That trend is dead. No one wants more hero shooters. And I certainly don't want PvP foam-based hero shooters that are horny. I didn't ask for that. No one asked for that. Bad.
Somebody did.
Straight to jail with all of it. Honestly, straight to jail with all of it. It's become a problem, and it's this. I feel the same way about that Haven game. Like, it looks cool. Why is it a hero shooter? Why is it going to be centered around these characters that have abilities, and then it's like, it's the same thing over and over again. There's only so much you're going to be able to do. Give me narrative stuff if you're going to do hero stuff. If not, just let me be me playing whatever it is that you want.
They're like,
customization.
We know what you weebs like. You like pretty girls and people with foam.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know who this is for. I guess it's for Boyden and Alex, but...
Oh. Thanks. No.
It's not for anyone, and I mean, I'm sure there's someone, but Little Squire looks great.
Is it called Little Squire? I thought the Plucky Squire.
Plucky Squire. Why did I put Little Squire?
That's the same thing.
Plucky Squire.
This, more so than anything, caught my eye, mostly because of just the animation style. But
I love the art style.
Yeah, the art style is crazy. It reminds me a lot of how they switch platforms. And this just comes straight to mind because I've been playing it. Super Mario Odyssey, where they'll switch to go 2D, where they'll switch to go 3D. It's like really interesting the way, like, we'll show you the trailer, but like, I don't know. I don't have anything other than that.
I love the aspects of all of it so far. And I remember whenever the trailer for it first dropped last year, or maybe year before last, I was like super into it immediately. I love the art style. But yeah, then we got Teardown, which has been on PC for about a year now. It's Minecraft heist style stuff with destructible buildings. Cool.
I called it Minecraft urban terrorism. What are we?
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing? But also, none of that matters because it definitely is getting buried under the next two announcements, which is that Metal Gear Solid is back, baby. We are getting a full-fledged Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater remake, plus a Volume 1 collection of the first 3 Metal Gear Solid games.
Things of which I have never played. Sue me.
Massive deal. Not just because they're some of the best games in their genre, but also because this will be the first Metal Gear Solid thing aside from Metal Gear Solid Survive, which we do not talk about. Metal Gear Survive, not Solid, which was a zombie game that they half-assed and put out after Kojima left. But this is the first Metal Gear Solid project since Kojima left Konami. So we will see how this goes. And if the remake stays true to stuff, or if they cram in a bunch of microtransactions or whatever, I don't know. But I'm excited by the fact that this happened. Like,
if it's a full from the ground up rebuild of the games, then yes, we've said previously on this podcast on this show that just the retexturing these games and slapping them back on with, you used to play this one on the PS2, remember? It doesn't work. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't play well.
No matter what your feelings about The Last of Us Part 1, you can't deny that the version that they put out is the absolute most, like, visually beautiful version that they did.
Right.
That's how you want to do a remake, is if you're going to build it from the ground up, redo everything. Make it all new. Make it all look good. It can't just be a texture remap. I'm super excited about that. We're going to skip over some of these smaller games that we're showing, and we're not going to talk about Final Fantasy 16 because honestly, I've seen 2 hours of gameplay now.
Oh, you already have?
I don't need to see anymore. I mean, like, we got a PlayStation State of Play like a month ago that was 25 minutes of gameplay. I didn't need to see more. I'm sold already. You got me. You got my money.
Got his hooks in it.
I'm already going to pay for it. I'm excited. Don't show me anymore.
Also, you've talked to people in high places, too.
Yeah.
That's a tease.
Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm excited.
That looked nuts. That looked really, I was like, ooh. Like,
it's Remedy who did Control in the original Alan Wake. It's been a long time coming. They announced after the showcase that it will be a digital-only release, which is interesting, and that it is actually releasing on all platforms, not just PlayStation 5, which is pretty cool.
The big one that I want to talk about, because like I've played all these games, like, like I've missed certain games, but there's a certain franchise that I've just played every single one of them. Assassin's Creed, Mirage, let's do Assassin's Creed 1 again.
Yeah. I mean, it's real cyclical in nature. We're back to the beginning of everything. It's closest in the timeline to Assassin's Creed 1 also.
Altair.
So it is interesting that we're going back. I think it's cool I see what you're doing, Ubisoft. I don't like a lot of it, but I see what you're doing. And I see that there is a benefit here to this style of game coming back because there is a fundamental, like, traditional spirit for the Assassin's Creed stuff that's been missing in these newer titles. And that is the focus on the parkour, the stealth, and the planning in cities. Using your environment to the advantage, not just roaming open countryside or climbing mountain cliffs all the time. Like, it's cool, but that's not what I look for in my Assassin's Creed.
And I love big games. Assassin's Creed Valhalla was inherently broken.
Yeah.
Too big. But the getting back to, and they really showcased it, was getting back to parkour and running on ropes and, you know, climbing buildings and stealth killing.
Exactly.
And really, what I wanted to see, and they didn't really show it because you're not going to get it until an actual gameplay trailer comes out, which is a semi that. But like the broken parry system, where they just changed it. They invented a really good, simple parry system, and then completely changed it.
I still think my favorite combat for the series comes from Assassin's Creed Origins, which was the first to take that third-person Souls-like approach. But I'd like to see a return to. I don't want the instant parry kill back again.
I do.
I think that there should be a weapon,
there's a medium,
or something that you can get like eventually that would unlock that for you, so that when you want to run around just insta kill everyone you can. But I do think that there's something to be said about the fact that combat can become too easy if you do that. But there are ways to get around that. You just design enemies that can't be countered. You design enemies that require, you throw them into the mix constantly.
Enemy variation was a thing.
And so I think that's probably more the direction we're going to get this time.
You wanted to talk about something there really quickly with Ubisoft?
Yeah, I mean, I can touch on it. So this is the first of many Assassin's Creed titles currently in development. Ubisoft is currently staking their entire empire basically on Assassin's Creed. They put out Assassin's Creed NFTs on physical figures that no one asked for. They are currently in development of, I think, 5 full-fledged Assassin's Creed titles. This one, the Japanese one, Project Jade, the Chinese one that's going to be a mobile game, and then another one that's going to be like about the witch hunt or something like that.
Oh, right.
Like Assassin's Creed Hex.
Salem Witch Trial.
And then some kind of hub world for all this stuff that I don't really understand with the Assassin's Creed Infinite stuff. Like, I see what you're trying to do, but I don't know that it's going to work out in your favor. And I don't trust you enough to do it well at this point, because your track record with implementing these kinds of features is, we launched it broken. We couldn't fix it. It's canceled now. We're just killing it. So, and then at that point, you've tangled up all your franchises in it. So
I don't know how a metaverse of the Assassin's Creed.
I don't know what would it bring
to work or anything. Anyway, yeah, I don't get it. Moving on from that, the VR stuff was okay, sure.
Yeah, and we got a look at a couple other smaller titles. Psychedelic Metroidvania game, Altos looks really good. It's kind of like a acid trip of a Metroidvania game, so I'm into it. Street Fighter 6 got a story trailer. It is gonna be fine. It's gonna be good.
As somebody who just like wax poetic about the fighting game storyline of Mortal Kombat.
I'll be honest with you, I haven't played through the storyline of a Street Fighter game in a long time, and I don't think Street Fighter V had barely even had a story. So it is interesting that there is one here, but this was mostly focused on your custom character, and when you introduce custom characters, you can't expect a lot of depth out of your story. That is just factual for writing, because you can't make a story with emotional, personal beats for a custom character, because everyone is expecting and experiencing it differently. That's the problem with custom characters. That's why I'm glad, and we'll talk about it more, that one of these games didn't decide to go the co-op route or make a multiplayer game out of it, because I think it would have killed the momentum and storytelling beats that they've built into their story.
Destiny 2?
Yeah. Bungie, another sequel to a cult classic, Dragon's Dogma, is getting a sequel. It's a medieval style RPG very anime from Capcom. I love the original one. It was unique at a time where, like, it was kind of like the middle ground between The Witcher and the Dragon Age series. Like, I think it was a good middle ground between those things where you're hunting beasts. And
yeah, I was going to say a lot of interesting, not mechs, but a lot of interesting beasts to conquer.
So I'm looking forward to it. I'd heard that that the sequel's in development. I wasn't expecting to see it here, but was happy to get the announcement. We also got a look at a couple of things. So we got, since the Bungie acquisition went through for PlayStation, we haven't really heard much about what they're working on. I know that they recently announced that Bungie was working on a consulting level for the multiplayer games that they are currently in development for at other studios, helping PlayStation hone in on what makes a good multiplayer game. Hey, Sony, be careful. Destiny 2 is kind of a bad time a lot of the times. So be careful, don't trust them too much. But I'm excited to see that Bungie is returning to its roots with Marathon. I am disappointed.
This looks sick.
I am disappointed to learn, though, that it is not a remake of the single-player Marathon game from my youth. It is instead a PvP multiplayer game set in the Marathon universe that they are calling Marathon. Now, here's what I expect to happen. If this PvP game, which would be their Halo contender, I imagine, is good, there will eventually be a story version put out, like a campaign will be created for it. Alternatively, it is entirely possible that this is the start to the next thing that they are doing at Bungie. We've heard rumors that they're working on a couple of different property or new IPs, and then also they were returning to a legacy franchise. That's what this is, and that there was 2 games in development in that legacy franchise. So it wouldn't surprise me if that turns out to be this PvP experience, and then if this is received well, that single-player experience gets greenlit and created next.
I don't want to talk about Destiny.
I'm not talking about Destiny.
Okay.
Cade 6 back. Who cares? Why would you undo that? You didn't win me over with the last one. You're not gonna. It's gonna have to be a hell of a lot of content. All right. Then it's make all the stuff in the store free.
Simply, I do want to say we're going to move quickly through this to get to the Spider-Man stuff. Concord's space exploration game.
Yeah,
maybe?
it looks like it's going to be in that vein. This is kind of the problem with announcing stuff too early, right? Like,
love the Atari logo.
I love the look of it. At first, I thought we were getting more Arc Raiders stuff because they also use a similar Atari style kind of classic feel to their logo, but then it showed the spaceship and stuff, and I was like, okay, cool. I don't know what this game is at all. I learned nothing aside from maybe some aesthetic stuff from this trailer.
The Galaxy.
So I don't like it whenever we get announcements like this because it's so vague. You might as well have just put the title on the screen and been like, new game coming. Moving on.
It's definitely like go see a Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. What is okay? We're running long, but what is Project Q? We're making a switch, but not really because Wi-Fi.
Imagine if there was a device, Royden, if you will.
Okay.
That
I want to.
You got it.
Okay. Yeah. Got
that
it.
you could sync.
Just a device.
Yeah. That you could sync wirelessly a controller from the PlayStation 5 to then stream via Wi-Fi or cellular data PlayStation 5 games and play them instantaneously on that device.
Okay.
Unfortunately, nothing like that exists to date.
Oh.
You probably thought I was describing a phone because I can do that on my phone currently.
What are the Google Stadia, right?
No.
Oh.
Definitely not that. It's super not that. Yeah, Project Q, what the hell? First off, if you, and this goes out to the, can I get this camera right here? Hey, if you don't have a real name for your project and you're gonna announce it, maybe consider that it's probably too soon to announce it. If it doesn't have a name, I don't want to know about it yet. You're not ready for me. Well, if I show up and been like, yeah, this is file 32. We'll come up with a name later, but It's going to be our new podcast.
gonna look something like
you would
that.
skip past it. You would not check it out because there's no branding. There's no. It's what a weird choice. But that's not even the weirdest choice here. Why is this a Wi-Fi only Nintendo Switch for the PS5? Who is this for? You can already do that on your phone. Why do we need this? If you're gonna
I hate playing on my. I can't do it on my phone.
Well, and that's the thing.
stinks.
This will be an 8-inch screen, so it's about the size of the Switch.
Okay.
It is good. I like the concept of it. Why would you limit it to Wi-Fi only?
That stinks.
Why would it be streaming? Why can't I download onto a SSD, a small SSD inside that lets me
Probably because they couldn't figure out that the
honestly,
files
you
were too
couldn't
big.
get that stuff small enough to fit onto a
Yeah.
device. That streaming was always going to be the only option here for a handheld. But a lot of people have been begging you to make a new handheld that is its own thing. This is not that, and now you've just
Fun
added.
fact: people love the PSP.
Yeah, PSP, even the PS Vita's got a resurgence of love. Rest in PS Vita. You know, I don't see who this is for, just like I don't really see who the earbuds are for. Like, there's already quality headsets out there.
Sick, bro.
I mean,
You got your PlayStation earbud. Sick, dude.
imagine walking up with that PS5 style case and you're like, hold on, let me put my PlayStation earbuds in.
If you were not using that for the PlayStation, you were just like taking calls on it.
It's like when you see
You're
people,
lame, dude.
it's like when you see people out, and because I've seen it a few times, especially when I used to work at GameStop, people walking around with like Turtle Beach headphones plugged into their phone, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, man, I'm at the store right now," and you're like,
That is weird. That is even weirder.
That is strange. I don't know why you would choose to do that. I guess
so
if you
cumbersome.
if you spend $120, $140 on a headset, you're like, I'm gonna use it for everything.
everything.
I'm gonna get my dollar value out of this headset,
I'm
bro.
taking an order.
For sure.
Look, I would like a better way. Like sometimes, don't tell my boss this. I get bored at work. Like it'd be cool. Like playing the Nintendo is fun.
Yeah.
Because you can just. It's such a good concept.
Yeah.
I would like to do that like on the plane.
Yeah.
You know?
Which you wouldn't be able to do here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you'd pay for. I guess you could play for in-flight Wi-Fi, but no way it's strong enough to stream a whole game to.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels limiting. Then again, there's no way I could put a whole like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
on the thing.
So there's a reason why we're not getting a full-fledged handheld.
But also,
'cause it's not possible.
You're promising the Kinect. I remember we
Yeah.
talk about this all of the time. You're promising. You're doing the Xbox. You're doing the thing.
Well, and here's the thing. They only have to deliver on a very small promise here.
Yeah.
Make games streamable from PlayStation 5, because you have to have a PS5 to own this.
Okay.
Or to use it anyways. I guess you buy it if you want it. If you don't have a PS5, that would be stupid. Don't do
Yeah.
that. But you need a PlayStation 5 to connect to that you can then stream from. Just like you need one for your phone to do through the PS app to stream that. It requires 5 megabits a second of data. That's not much. 15 for high-end, which is similar to what Game Pass does with their cloud streaming. There is a precedent here for this to work. It's really going to come down to the price point on this handheld. If the price point is $299, just like the Nintendo Switch, but it can't play games on its own, that's a non-starter.
Right.
$100, $120 you can get away with, but then they're going to be selling them at a loss. They're going to have to sell a lot of them. So I think the better option here is to go with a cheaper model, include PlayStation Plus Extra.
Give me the earbuds for free.
Honestly. But include PlayStation Plus Extra with it and sell it at $120 to $150 range. That will get enough people interested in buying it, especially if you have a single TV home, but you want to be able to play your PS5 games whenever you want.
This would work.
This would solve that problem.
This would work for my wife and I. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like if she's watching Netflix and I wanted to play a game, like we're kind of have similar schedules where we can't do both of the things that we want
Right.
to do at the same time. Someone said get another TV, but whatever.
Simply have more money.
Simply have more money. Yeah. Anyway, the big thing we want to talk about: don't overpromise and underdeliver. PlayStation's normally not bad about that, but we've seen the Kinect. We saw it in 2009.
We will see what happens with this, but again,
Big thing is
stop announcing things before you know what they are.
now on to the big thing: Spooderman.
Spider-Man is back, and he's so mad.
He's so mad.
After much speculation on what the story here was going to be. In our first trailer that we got back in 2021, we saw that it was Venom. We heard Kraven the Hunter's voiceover, but we weren't sure that was Kraven the Hunter. We got confirmation immediately off the bat. Kraven the Hunter is the first of the main villains here. Now,
looking real big and mean.
Yeah, he's super big, and he's such an animal lover. And check his movie out in 2025.
Yeah. Don't ask why we're tying him into this game.
Yeah, it's so weird that they picked Kraven the Hunter. They just picked him out of the blue. It's crazy. And Venom, there are other
Venom
characters. Yeah, I hope that's in the game.
Venom.
So we got our first look at symbiote suit Spider-Man, and oh my God, does it look super cool.
Looks cool.
Already can see the dual wheel of action ability, so you've clearly got more at your disposal, traditional webs and symbiote webs. Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, what a hell of a way to introduce that style. And you can hear in Peter's voice, he's darker, he's edgier,
so mad.
He's pissed off. And we got some hints about the story in that dialogue where he was talking about that they're chasing the Lizard, aka Kurt Connors, who is helping heal Harry Osborn.
Right.
Which, if you played through the end of the first, spoiler alert, but too late, you already clicked on this video.
He's like in a coma.
He's in a coma, and at the end we saw the symbiote.
Like a suspended state, like they have him,
Yeah, he's in like suspended animation. He's got, there was like a symbiote style thing crawling towards him and latching onto his body. So.
Is he Venom?
I probably. We don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this plays. We also got confirmation that there will be, you will be playing both as Peter and Miles, which we kind of guessed at.
Which is a new big upgrade from, really from the game, is the being able to switch between.
Yeah, and we don't know if that's going to be an on-the-fly switch yet. We didn't get a lot of details post-trailer. But we did see some new traversal methods with a wingsuit that Miles has, and that I think Peter also has something similar. There's, Genki's on a drone now, and he's running around. That drone looks very much like it's going to get, confiscated and repurposed by a Green Goblin-esque character later on.
Really can't wait for the sneak missions that we all love, where we're going to have to use the drone to take pictures. If I had one complaint about those games.
I think that there's a pretty solid chance we won't have that. I think that there's a good reason why they include those in these kinds of games, because, and Batman kind of did the same thing with the Arkham series, where these characters are supposed to be dual characters. Peter and Spider-Man, Miles and Spider-Man, Batman and Bruce Wayne. They are two sides of the same coin, but they are different. So it makes sense to have some times where you're having to pretend to not be Spider-Man by being Peter Parker for a minute. And I kind of had fun with some of that stuff. The Mary Jane mission, I could have done without, but also the ones where you got to be Mary Jane and tell Spider-Man to go get guys was kind of fun. So I don't know. I don't think we'll get any of that though, because with two main characters to play with here, I find it unlikely that they'll need to slow things down or change things up. I think we will eventually get the characters separated for a while.
It'll be interesting to see if you'll be able to do the Guardians of the Galaxy thing, where you'll be able to command people to go certain places and do certain things.
Yeah, it was a great showcase for the game. I loved every part of the trailer. I've already rewatched it twice.
Hey, Sony, tell us when you're releasing it, man.
Hey, fall 2023. You can't fool me. Tony Todd already told us it's coming in September.
Just do the thing.
Just tell me it's like we're halfway there.
Yeah.
Just tell me it's in September. What's the point of saying fall 2023? I think part of that is that Starfield is also coming out in 2023. Mortal Kombat is also coming out in September of 2023. So maybe they're waiting to be like,
actually October.
And we are also releasing in September on the first day.
Right.
We win. Well, let's dominate the headlines. But I think the smarter move would be probably to either wait till October or to dominate at the very last moment in September, because nothing would kick Starfield and Xbox in the dick more than if you just took their game they've been developing for 11 years and squashed it under a Spider-Man boot.
What if we just released a Spooderman?
Yeah. So
anyway,
that's the showcase, though. Lots of great stuff. tons of stuff that are, we didn't hear about that we know are in development. There's a Ghost of Tsushima 2 currently in development. We know that. We haven't heard anything about that. We knew that Sucker Punch had already said that wasn't going to be there. We didn't hear anything about the new Sony Santa Monica game that Cory Barlog is working on, but I also kind of figured that one wasn't ready. There's a few other things here and there. Every time there's a showcase, there's a rumor that Bloodborne remake is coming. Boys and girls, Bloodborne is done. I hate to tell you this, but From Software takes years to return back to a thing, and they're probably not coming back to Bloodborne for at least another 4 years. I don't foresee this being a remake situation that happens anytime soon. They're also very, very busy working on Armored Core 6.
Yeah.
So, sorry, but stop hyping yourself up about something no one promised you. I saw a lot of people be like, it's kind of mid. It's kind of a mid showcase. I'm like, was it? There was like a lot of crazy, it's actually insane that we're getting a Metal Gear Solid anything. Like the Spider-Man 2 thing, yeah, we knew it was coming, but it was crazy. It was cool. Alan Wake 2 looks great. We got a lot of sequels to indie games that we didn't know we were going to get sequels to. I don't understand how this qualifies as a mid.
They didn't get their Viva Pinata sequel.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, biggest waste of opportunity by Microsoft to not make Viva Pinata their flagship franchise.
Forgot that was Microsoft.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll cut that part out. Can't leave that in. But yeah, so that's all we've got for this week. If you had to give the showcase a grade, what would you give it?
B+.
Yeah, B+. A- for me, I really enjoyed pretty much everything about it. There wasn't anything I was just like, all right. Well, I mean, there was. It was Foam's Star Party, but I really think that most everything in the showcase was excellent, and I'm excited to see more. We're getting into showcase season as we head farther into the month of May, and especially first 2 weeks of June, you can expect to see us a little bit more often. We will be doing weekly episodes throughout June as best we can, because there will be weekly content to talk about, and if we wait, these will be 2-hour-long episodes, and I can't do that. But so lots of stuff coming down the line. We've got reviews coming down the line for Tears of the Kingdom, Humanity, a few other choice ones. Games releasing this next month in the form of Street Fighter 6, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 16. I Want to Die. That's too many things. And
a lot of games.
It's a lot of games, and I'm still playing Tears of the Kingdom. So
a lot of games.
I'll try, guys. As always, if you like what we do here, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Let us know what your favorite part of the showcase was. Let me know what you really wish had made it but didn't. And tell me what Microsoft stuff you hope is announced during their showcase.
Star Fox.
Yeah, I hope Microsoft announced that they've acquired Star Fox and they're making a Star Fox game.
Make a Star Fox.
Oh, man. Microsoft is like, everyone's mad at me about buying Activision-Blizzard, so we bought Nintendo.
Yeah.
It'd be absolutely insane. But yeah, as always, leave a like. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our stuff that we do here. You can check us out over on kwtx.com/entertainment/hardwired. You can also let us know if there's any topics or stories that you want us to talk about by sending an email to hardwired@kwtx.com. And we'll take a look at any stories you suggest. But until next time, we're swinging out of here. I'm Andrew Hamilton. That's Roy Noel Tree. And let's do it. Let's do it. It's over. Wow.